I think it's absolutely fantastic to be reopened, and I arrived on property for the first time. I'm the new GM a week ago today, so very short lead time, but in that time the energy amongst the colleagues, the excitement about getting back to doing what we do best was palpable, and I think the build up to yesterday's opening was just full of energy and enthusiasm. So I think there's a pent up desire to go back into service from all the colleagues' perspective, and indeed on Saturday when we opened our doors for the first time, particularly in the food and beverage area, Hans Bar and Kitchen, our restaurant is a kind of local landmark for local residents. The joy of the interaction, albeit not hugs and kisses because obvious regulations, but they were as happy to be back as we were to be serving them. In terms of surprises, I don't think there have been any. We set up for a busy food service, which we saw. And from a rooms perspective, I think everyone understands that London is a slightly depressed market, but that gives us an ideal opportunity to engage much more closely with those guests who do come in. And so overall, I'm very pleased with the first weekend. I think the first thing, obviously, is to open safely. I think you have to take things on a step-by-step basis. The only constant is change, and the guidance changes and has changed fairly consistently. I don't see any reason why that won't continue to be the case. So fundamentally, to open safely, to ensure that we retain the same level of connection with our guests, the same level of service and luxury that they've become used to. I think that's the first step. I think we're helped a little bit by that insofar as the property is just off the beaten track, if you like. The boutique size of the hotel, 56 bedrooms. We have multiple entrances, so for those who are concerned about the situation with the pandemic, we have flexibility to cater for those needs. So I think that's important, and I think demand is generally going to be softer than people have been used to in previous years. So reputation, in my view, becomes even more important in a limited market. So that's really the focus in terms of the recovery, step by step. Ensure you do the basics right and reconnect fully with our guests. I think from a vision perspective, I think the hotel, it's a gem of a hotel, and we're currently 5 stars. I see no reason why we shouldn't work towards 5 red stars, again to further cement our place in the market. I've picked up what's been happening, so both Iconic Luxury Hotels and the property have been using various platforms, Zoom, Facebook pages, Microsoft Teams, to keep people in the loop. And I think in situations like this, particularly with colleagues, you need to keep them very clearly in touch with what's happening. Like most hotels, we've had a skeleton team on property managing the property, and as we became clearer on the timescales for opening, people were brought off furlough. It is incredible that the energy and the desire to just get back to do what we're doing is incredible, and so it's important now that as we scale up, as demand comes back, that we keep in touch with those colleagues still on furlough to give a clear picture. But hopefully, the way things are going, we look forward to getting a full team back fairly soon. Well, I think obviously across society, the explosion of Zoom and other online communication kind of methods has seen a dramatic increase in that sort of activity. And from my perspective, I've probably been speaking to my parents more often through that medium than ever before, and with friends as well. So I think that's very positive. But after a while, from my perspective, I begin to feel that actually it's good, but nothing replaces face-to-face communication. I think that's what we're seeing now as lockdown eases, is people just desperate to get out and meet other people. So I think there may be some changes to to how people use that sort of technology, and maybe there won't be as many meetings face to face just because it's more convenient and potentially arguably cheaper to do it. But fundamentally our relationship is directly with our guest, and that's where the magic happens. And so there might be some tweaks around the edges, but from the property perspective and from our service levels with our guests, I don't think it'll fundamentally change anything. We are a face-to-face business, which is why the challenges are existing from an operational perspective. I think it's worthwhile noting from an ILH perspective, whilst there are those hygiene factors that we need to comply with, and we do, our overriding objective is that hospitality is what people see, and so that's really our focus. However, we build in systems that ensure that we comply with the legislation. Again, it's one of the benefits of being a smaller property, with a lower volume. It makes some of the processes easier to comply with, and as you say, maybe some of the bigger hotels that have to take steps like that. But no, face to face, albeit from a distance, is what we're doing.